I'm joined now by Democratic Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii. Senator, I guess my first question is, do you have reaction? Have you seen any of the bill? Do you know what's in it yet?
No, I don't know exactly what's in it, but I've seen the reporting, and it confirms what we've been saying all along. The House bill and the Senate bill are essentially the same structurally. This thing cuts Medicaid massively, and Chris, as you mentioned, it may phase out Medicaid expansion a little more slowly. I'm not sure if they think that gives them cover or not, but what it does is something even more draconian, even more right-wing, that used to be totally a third rail in American politics, which is they're trying to cut Medicaid overall as a program. They're trying to block grant it, which means essentially giving each state a certain amount of money, capitating it, and saying this is what you have regardless of how many people are on Medicaid and how much money each state has. So this is going to be extremely cruel. I'm frankly a little surprised that in the fight between the so-called moderates and the right wing in the Senate Republican conference, that the right wing won. They got their wishes. This is Paul Ryan in college around a keg imagining a bill. This is that bill.
Yeah, that Paul Ryan had made this comment earlier on the AHCA that it was something that he dreamed about sitting around kegs in college, capitating Medicaid, basically. The other question I have for you is, how do you game out the next week as a member of the Democratic minority?
Well, it's in 2 or 3 increments, but the first increment, we all have to be focused on just one task, which is to find 3 no votes. There's a lot of gaming out the sort of end of the process, but that end of the process is only if we lose, and it is not a foregone conclusion that we lose. I will tell you that the rumors are flying, and they are flying in every direction, even among the most knowledgeable people within the United States Senate. Some people think there are 7 or 8 people leaning no. Some people think Mitch McConnell already has the votes. What that tells me is that this is a very fluid situation, that lots of members on the Republican side are feeling tons of pressure, and that we should ratchet up that pressure. For my part, I'm trying to do everything I can, on the floor, off the floor, directly with Republican members, through the media, through the internet, and I think everybody has to throw everything they've got at this one task, which is to find 3 people who will vote no. And they may vote no for different reasons. You may have a couple of people who are pro-choice who vote no for that reason. You may have a couple of people like Rand Paul who think this isn't quite cruel enough. I don't care. We just have to cobble together 3 no votes, and we can save health care for tens of millions of Americans.
You know, it seems to me that it's a likely scenario, and I'd like to hear what you think of this, that they've sort of left some obvious things in the bill that moderates are not going to like, conservatives are not going to like, and they're going to tweak it in some ways so that people can go away with their sort of symbolic victory. Dean Heller can have some victory on Medicaid, and Rand Paul, Mike Lee, maybe on the subsidies, and then everyone can sort of. It seems to me that it's set up for a kind of kabuki theater.
That's possible. You know, I just don't know, because that's a heck of a thing to try to orchestrate. You know, the Senate is not quite that organized, even on the Republican side, even with Mitch McConnell, who's obviously very skillful in his work. That may be how it's set up, and I think you're right, generally speaking, that what they're going to try to do is give some members cover. Those who pretend to care about opioids but want to cut Medicaid in $800 billion, maybe they'll set up a $10 billion opioid fund, you know, 10% of what's really needed. So I think you're right. They're going to try to sort of sweeten the pot for some of these members, but a lot of them are a little more serious than that. And the other part of the politics here is hometown politics. It's not enough to say, hey, I voted for opioids. We are hearing from community health centers. We are hearing from groups that advocate for research and treatment for specific diseases. And we're really, you know, people are feeling the pressure. So don't give up. We're still in a very strong position. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do think we might be able to kill this bill.
All right, Senator Brian Schatz, thank you for joining me.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.